What's up, Red Sox Nation? Sox dropped the series finale in Detroit, but still start off great on this very pivotal road trip. Can they continue it? We will talk about all that and more tonight on Red Sox Wrap 360.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Gotta wear shades. Oh, yeah.
Gotta wear those shades.
Who could we be talking about besides Andrew Benintendi?
It's crushing it.
Who he gets his first career home run today in Detroit.
Big triple as well.
The first one he gets credit for. All of you that follow the Sox know he's got, two this year. One that didn't get called in Fenway Park, which was terrible. But in the house tonight, we got my good friend, Dennis Harris.
Hello, friends.
How you doing, Dennis Harris? Dennis, you're on the
Michael Conley.
old social media. Where can people find you on the old social media?
Correct. You can find me at Deehaas, Deehaas, on the old Twitter.
Nice. So
Yes.
hit him up there on the Twitter. This is our weekly rudderless discussion of all things Red Sox. If you want to steer that conversation in a different direction, you can do that through Deehaas on Twitter. What's up? I'm Mike Conley. They put a Twitter up here for me too. But don't be ashamed or embarrassed or just pissed if I don't return those, because that's not my Twitter handle. I'm not on Twitter yet. Once Jerry Remy gets on there full throttle, I'm in.
Could be any day.
He's like on there. I think someone does it for him.
Yeah,
but,
he's got people.
You know, once we get a minion in here, a Red Sox Wrap 360 minion.
Remdog's got
It will
people.
work like
I
that.
think.
Whew.
He's got restaurants. He's got people.
He does. Wow, it is hot in this studio.
It's a toasty one.
Oh,
You know what?
boy.
Speaking of being hot,
Ayo, nice
not a bad
segue.
week. Not a bad week for the boys.
You gotta like it. I mean, a little bit of a whimper today. I mean, 10-5. You had Henry Owens out there in the spot start for Erod.
Yeah, wheels came off, I'd say.
Wheels came off a little bit. I mean, but there was some good things. You know me, post 04 Mike Conley. I like to look for the silver lining in these Red Sox teams.
Yeah.
Okay. But he went through the order for the first time. He looked pretty good.
He was just striking guys out and walking guys.
That's it. Well, yeah, it was a little bit of that, like
little bit
the
of
same
both.
old Henry O. You know,
But the wheels done came off.
it did.
as they
Once it
do.
got to the second time through the order,
Yeah,
he
it was.
kinda-
I was pumped about 2 innings in.
Yeah.
I was feeling good.
it's like, wow, this guy might have something.
Hey, gee whiz.
I was gonna call my pops after the game, be like, "See, Henry Owens. I told you this guy was good. He hates
Oh,
Henry
man.
Owens. It's terrible. He's like,
Yeah, man.
he's garbage. I can kind of see what he says.
He's
but,
onto something there.
he's got when your best pitch is your changeup. I don't know if
Yeah.
you're gonna
Yeah.
win many games. But what's up, gang? Thanks for tuning in with us. But nevertheless, that gives them a split versus Detroit. Detroit was kind of ripe for the picking. They're kind of, it was too bad we couldn't have got 3 out of 4 there. But due to the Sox success early in the week, it was a 5-2 week.
Right.
And what a start to the road trip. I think
Right.
like going out on 11-game 4-city trip. I think we all at least me in the back of my mind was thinking, hey, if they come back 5-6, that's not horrible. Let's
Right.
just go out there and not lose any ground. Here we are, we're gaining ground.
Yeah, they're
You
playing
know?
good ball.
Toronto wins today, so that puts the Sox a half game back at Toronto. But sorry, I
No
cut
big
you
deal.
off.
No, not at all. It's just interesting now that it seems like the roles have reversed, where the starting rotation is really starting to be the strength as far as pitching is concerned, and now the bullpen is really kind of becoming a source of fear.
Absolutely.
Next.
Absolutely. And I think I kind of started to bring up that point the past 2 weeks and
Yeah.
never finished it. But the different facets you have, starting pitching, relief
Right.
pitching, hitting, you can also add in defense as a facet too. But I think they've been pretty solid defense this year, the Red Sox. But yeah, so you're seeing that starting pitching come around, and the last road trip it showed signs of coming around, and the bats were quiet.
Right.
And so now we got the starting staff doing well, but the bullpen,
Yeah.
looking shady. But the bats are starting to come around this trip.
Yeah.
The one thing that I take solace in that situation is the fact that we are kind of right there on the doorstep of first place in the division,
Right.
and we haven't had all those facets clicking.
Yeah,
at
you
the
hope
same
that
time.
you just sit there hoping it's all going to come together at the right time, which, maybe post 04 Mike Conley is right, and maybe it all does come together. Prime to make a run. Ortiz just still in rare form.
He
meant
is
to be.
indeed. He is indeed.
And it's time for him to write another chapter. Another chapter.
And how about your? I wouldn't insult you like that, but the New York Yankees. You know,
How about 'em?
I mean, they sold at the deadline and all this stuff. They're like, oh no, we're not throwing in the towel. We're not throwing in the
Right.
towel. But so they were right. I mean, they're up to now 3 games over 500,
It's kind of bananas.
and they're 4.5 out in the wild card right now.
It's bananas. You just never can count those guys out.
And it's like a youth infusion, They watched and saw what Theo and Ben did with the youth movement in Boston, and they're like, Brian Cashman's like, yeah, you see, that's what we
See?
want to be. It was almost like these guys had to come to fruition before the Steinbrenners said to Cashman, like, okay, here's the keys to the castle, make us young.
Keys to the castle.
But so they got like their young bombers coming up, like Judge and Sanchez.
Yeah.
They got some other outfielder too. But
That's neither here nor there.
that's neither here nor there. They have a lot of people to leap about. We're focused on the Red Sox, and we're looking at who's in front of us, and that is the Toronto Blue Jays, and we're a half game back on that. It looks good. Thank the God that Baltimore is faltering.
Finally,
so that's
yeah.
fantastic. I mean, finally it looks like maybe midnight has struck on that team. They've 4-6 in the last 10, lost 3
Right.
in a row. They, we were marveling at the fact that their starting pitching has held it together.
Right.
So far this year. But now Tillman's had a little bit of shoulder
Coming back
injury.
to
He's
earth.
been great
Yeah.
for them. He kind of got shelled the other day. Still said he felt healthy afterwards, but if he goes down, so could their chances. I mean,
course,
there's
yeah.
a lot of people nipping at their heels right now for that second wild card spot.
Right.
You got Kansas City playing well. They've won like 8 in a row, so they're kind of right there with the Yankees right now. Seattle's been playing well lately. Another team we thought was
bless 'em.
dead.
God
So
bless 'em.
the wild card, whether you love it or hate it. If you hate it, you're just misled, not a baseball fan, because you gotta love it. Because it seems like 80% of the teams in the league are in the race up until like the final month.
Yeah.
And you gotta love that as a baseball fan.
You gotta love it, he says. Yeah, I mean, regarding the Orioles, it seems like they've just kind of. You do have to marvel at it because you just almost are puzzled how they've kept it together this long with what they have. Whereas the Blue Jays, I kind of expect, with the arms they have in place, they have all the pieces where you would think it might be us and them neck and neck. And the Orioles, though, they're kind of like Nate Diaz, they're not going down without a fight. I don't know if you watched old Connor the other night.
No, I was gonna try and go radio silence for a week until they play it on regular TV. But
If
thanks.
you somehow don't know what happened, that's
I haven't seen it. I'll rewatch it.
Good fight, though.
That's what I heard. That's what I
Very good
heard. I'm more of a boxing guy, not so much in the MMA, but
You'll come around.
we'll see. We'll see. I mean, there's a rebirth in the heavyweight division, so
I might not be privy to that. You'll have to coach me up
no question.
off show.
We'll get you over in the boxing show with Jared Gilkerson. He can coach you up. Oh yeah, that's just one of the many shows they have here, Denny, at old AfterBuzz TV here in lovely North Hollywood. That's when we're coming at you from. This is D. Haas. You can find him on social media. Dennis Harris. I'm Mike Conley. Our good friend Ben Fay's on the East Coast this week. He said he may tweet into you, though, so he may have some cheap. So
Keep my eyes open
keep an
here.
eye on that, on the tweets. So Andrew Benintendi. Okay.
Looks like we already got a little feedback from old Ben. We'll see what he says.
Wow.
All right.
Already. You going to come out with that?
He says,
Okay.
Papelbon is greater than Taz, right? As in, would we prefer Papelbon over Taz?
Yes. I think we would.
So,
Yeah.
that said,
He's been pushing Papelbon. My first knee-jerk reaction was, dear God, no.
yeah.
But, seeing what our bullpen did this week,
Yeah, I mean, this week was a whole other story.
I do think he is a guy that, is a little bit misunderstood, and everybody kind of points to that, choking out the star on the team, for the Nationals last year. But everything I see of Bryce Harper,
You think he's worthy of a little choke
I think
job?
he needs a choking. I think he needs a quarterly
Every
choking.
now and again,
Every
you know
now
what
and
I mean?
again. So, I don't think he was that out of line. And, he'll be back in the locker room with Poppy and Petey. He's going to be
Right,
on his best
right.
behavior. There'll be guys there and everything else. So, I think that he can potentially help us.
Right.
I don't give him the keys to the 8th inning right away. In fact, I still think Ziegler's a better option in that inning.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking Bonds and Heath Hembry are emerging as better options in that 8th inning before I would really give it a pat.
Right.
I mean, let's
Yeah,
not
he's gonna
forget
ha-
he's
he's
been
gonna have to
over
earn
in the weaker circuit for a few years
Yeah, the
now.
old-
He hasn't
the
really
old
battled
NL.
through a legitimate major league
It's
lineup.
very true. It's very true, man.
So-
Yeah, I heard somebody make the point where, if he didn't have the name Papelbon on his jersey and you were just looking strictly at the numbers and what he's done, nobody in Boston would be clamoring about him at all. But that's not the way the world works. I mean, the kid has a history in Boston. The kid has done big things in Boston. And, plenty of guys to give him a second chance. Who knows?
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to buy low on a guy and reinvigorate. I think it's worth taking a flyer on him.
Yeah.
Worst case,
Send
you
it
choke
back
somebody
in
out and
September.
the whole thing comes off the wheels, and
goes
we
after-
got a new manager next season, and the whole nine. I mean, it's the worst thing that could happen.
He goes after Mookie Betts' neck. Poppy's going to tackle
No question.
him.
No question.
Oh, boy. So, speaking of Poppy, the ageless one, he fouled another ball off his shin.
Off the old
ankle.
shin, yeah.
Was that today or yesterday?
Yeah,
I forget.
yeah, I can't remember which day it was either. But yeah, I mean, the old feet are taking a pounding.
Oh, man. Every time it happens, I'm just like, no. And then he legged out a double today. I was like,
Golden toes.
man, this guy.
Golden
He's something.
toes. He is something, making some history this week as he's doing every week.
Yeah.
Hey,
thank you for that feedback over the Twitter there, Benny Frickin' Jam.
one of our top fans out there.
He is. That's his handle on the Twitter. You can tweet him up too, Benny Frickin' Jams. Usually in these seats right here. He likes to keep it real concise on the Twitter handle. I guess.
I mean, it took me a minute to decipher that code, that shorthand. There.
Maybe you can elaborate that a little bit more. Just so the carpal tunnel kicks in when you're typing it in. So. Benintendi, this kid's a stud, and we were kind of speculating last week, or when Chris Young gets back, is he going to take some at bats away, and is it going to be a platoon situation for Benintendi? And Farrell's pretty much saying Benintendi's my left fielder.
I mean,
and I love it. And maybe Chris Young gets they face a really tough lefty. Old Cole Hamels or Chris Sale comes through. Hey, guess what, Chris Young, you're in the lineup today.
Go take a few cracks.
But from what we've seen out of Benintendi to this point, it's like you really want to see him in there on a daily basis.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. And you want to see that helmet pop off when he's running second and third.
You do.
Flowing locks in the breeze. Stand up triple, no big deal.
Flowing locks. I don't know if you saw after the home run, Poppy kind of hit him on the head, patted him on the non-helmeted head, and he was just like.
Dude, he's ready for a Head and Shoulders
afterwards.
commercial.
Oh, boy.
How many games do you have to have under your belt before you're ready for a Head and Shoulders?
Yeah, seriously.
I mean,
before you get sponsorships?
That is a commercial-worthy salad.
Oh, boy. It's
no question.
It's Major League flow. There's no doubt about that. So he gets, the home run today, his first career homer. He obviously hit that seed in his third game at Fenway.
Right.
That went off the yellow line. Now, yellow lines remind me of yellow poles, and yellow poles are foul poles. And if you hit the ball off the foul pole, that should be a home run. Evidently not in the center field when he hit the yellow line in the center field of Fenway. Therefore,
it is a strange, it's a strange rule
change the
there.
color of that line.
Yeah.
Make that a white line or a red line. Oh.
Keep
Keep it G rated. Keep it G.
Keeping it G.
Gotta love it. So what's fantastic, Benintendi, we'll laud about him in a little bit, but what's terrific is we were able to split with Detroit, so that's good. Home splits are good, but that's coming off sweeping Baltimore in a 2-game set and taking that one game, the makeup game from the first series of the year on Monday.
Right.
Which was fantastic. And that one was a nice, tight affair. Sox won 3-2 in that one.
Pomeranz picking up his first dub.
Huge Red Sox first dub. Went 7 2/3 innings, the longest outing of his career.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
Yeah.
Pretty
so
good.
That is good. That's a good, leaf being turned over.
It is.
And he was actually cruising Saturday night.
Right.
In the rain delays. He was unfazed by the initial rain delay. Or he got a little touched, I think, in the first or something. But that curveball was making people look silly.
It was, yeah. I think he gave up one bomb or something, right, before the game was called.
But he got 6 in, and he was going to probably go another 7+.
Right.
If that rain didn't come.
Yeah.
Because he was manageable pitch count wise, and so to see a guy like that turn the corner is huge, and it couldn't happen at a better time.
Absolutely.
When you got Stephen Wright banged up, and you got now you got Eduardo Rodriguez banged up. He saying that his hamstring was not ready to go to Farrell last night at like 6:45, and then
Wait another hour.
Henry Owen gets a panicked call to get on the next
That's
flight
just what
to
he needs.
Detroit. Yeah,
Just what he needs.
yeah. It was almost like it was working for him there in the first couple innings, but
There were 20 minutes to a half hour where we thought it was.
we won't
good
rain
deal.
on your parade though. Yeah. So
Also, a little bit aside from that, with Erod, you had kind of the Stephen Wright and Farrell sort of with different stories as to his timetable. which
Yeah,
seemed
that
a
was
little
interesting.
Weird.
yeah. Farrell's like, there's been a lot of discussions with Steven.
Yeah, right. I mean, get to the point, buddy. Is the guy pitching or not? Sounding like Belichick out there,
But it's better that we take it slow rather than force him back and then he's done for the year.
When
and
you
he's
have
not
the
an
likes
asset.
of Clay Buchholz, he's been good the last
He's been
couple
okay.
outings. He's been good.
Ever since
Two
they
good
kind of
outings in a row though as a start. I mean, what did he throw the last outing?
do some research.
Where were you I thought you were gonna hit me with some stats.
let me just pull it up real quick on this laser quick Wi-Fi. Since he's gone back to the bullpen, and then coming in and started and beginning those spot starts, he looks great. And you could sulk a guy that's been in the league 10 years, and been with the same team the whole time, but it seems like he's kind of taking stride, doing anything to help the team win. If that's going to be a long man to mop it up in the bullpen, that's one thing, But if it's going to be, as a starter, which it looks like Tuesday, he's probably going to go in Wright's place on Tuesday.
His last outing he pitched 6 solid frames, and then that was the game that the bullpen, Taz and Ziegler really blew it and squandered that game.
Yeah.
But
But when you look at the starting pitching performances on this road trip, it's like 6 or 7 innings, giving up like 2 runs. It's really some studly efforts out there.
This whole month, really, they've been like they're right in the mix as far as the ERA has come way back down, and things are looking all right, Mike.
But however, their bullpen ERA in August, second worst in the American League.
Why can't they just get it together?
Get it together, man.
It's fun. I mean, I'm just tired of talking about it.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. This is a frustrating team. I mean, for a team that's in the position they're in, I think I just heard today they're only 2 games off the pace of the 04 squad, I want to say. And it doesn't feel that way. I mean, this team has just been hot and cold. But I mean, they came out, you talked about it plenty of times, or just that hot start. It pays off because when you're kind of riding the roller coaster the rest of the way, it's a good thing to get out to that big start and
yeah, you got to get off
give
to that
yourself
good
a little
start.
cushion.
Because then if you play 500 ball for like a 2-month stretch, it's like, oh, you're still over 500 because you got off to that good start. And you're feeling a little bit better about yourself as if you got off to, 10 games below 500 start, and then you play 500 ball for 2 months, and you're like, we're climbing this mountain
This
that we
is
simply
difficult.
we just can't seem to ascend.
This is a challenge.
But Erod, it's especially discouraging to see him go down with the hammy because it looked like he was just kind of getting over that knee issue that he had at the beginning of the year and getting over that tipping pitches type scenario. I mean, he was mowing them down on his start this week. Tuesday.
Yeah, it looked like he might have finally rounded the corner.
I mean, did he even allow a hit? I think he had like 4 innings of no-hit ball.
He was cruising.
He was cruising.
And then the wheels came off.
But, you're hoping, okay, he misses one more start and Stephen Wright misses one more start, and then we're back to full strength.
Right.
It would be fantastic,
And then everyone in the bullpen gets their act together.
Oh.
The offense keeps rolling, and then you got yourself a real contender.
Well, I'm thinking also, where you don't have the Henry Owens in the world taking a turn in the rotation every 5th day, or, Buchholz, even though he's been pretty good, those are days where you use up a lot of your bullpen, in scenarios like that. So now if we can get this guy Pomerantz, if this is indeed a corner he has turned, that's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Especially getting that win, too. I wonder if it was a little bit of like a what for, because he was pitching against the team that drafted him, Cleveland, in the 11 draft. He was like the 5th overall selection. So, I mean, maybe it was like, you should never give up on me, man.
Don't quit on me.
Don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've talked about it before, but I'm a big guy on body language, which is not a movie from the 80s. But, maybe it will be a movie to come.
Yep.
But the kid, he looks the part. and that means something to me. The kid, he's just going out there every 5th day. He's working through it, and I mean, as we've seen, hopefully it's not going to be a case like Price this year or even Porcello the first half of last year, and maybe it just took him a few starts to kind of hit his stride. But the kid looks like a nice piece right now. A nice piece.
He sure does. So we're hoping that he just continues on his recent success here in his last 2 starts, and then, if Henry Rodriguez, hello, I'm thinking of former Expo, Eduardo Rodriguez gets back for, his next time, he can kind of pick up where he left off in that last start that we loved him, where he first twinged the hammy. That would be great. Because then you see how Stephen Wright, if he can come back and to be, 3/4 of the pitcher he was before he got the injury. Plus, Stephen Wright, I still can't get over the fact that this guy got hurt pinch running. This is a guy who last year got hurt shagging fly balls because the ball hit him in the head. It's like, dude, what? That's why you're shagging flies. You got a glove on your hand, buddy. I think it was an errant pass. Someone was playing catch and they took it off the dome. But that story alone doesn't, make me file away and say, hey, if we get in a jam where we need a pinch runner as a pitcher on the bases, Stephen Wright, who gets injured by an errant ball in batting practice, he's my guy. He's my guy.
Not the guy.
I'll never.
It's you said it last week, and I couldn't said it any better. I definitely have been an apologist for Farrell, but that one is a head scratcher.
Oof.
And obviously it's worst case scenario, but you got to have a little bit of foresight there. Maybe he's not the guy to be out there on the base paths.
Yeah,
it's troubling. It's troubling.
It was just,
That one is a head scratcher.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the game I've been trying to avoid, but that is Thursday's implosion by the bullpen.
Oh, yeah. It's the game. Clay came out looking good, looking strong, and then Taz implodes. Ziegler implodes, which I think is a great subject of conversation here is, what do we do about this bullpen? Like, there's plenty of good signs and good returns from the starters right now, but where do we turn as far as the bullpen is concerned? Because even, you basically, lately you've had Barnes, who's been fairly solid for you. You've had Kimbrel, who's been solid, but in a nerve-wracking manner. Even last night's game, he's comes within inches of blowing it.
Yeah.
It's just, he hasn't been, even when he's been good, he hasn't been completely dominant.
Yeah. It's always a roller coaster ride with Kimbrel. That's why, like, when I'm watching the games, I almost wish that they have Ziegler, haven't used Ziegler yet, so they have him kind of reserved.
Right.
In case there's a Kimbrel implosion. Mm-hmm. And, he puts a bunch of guys on and we need a double play ball.
Right.
To have Ziegler in the back pocket like that, I like having that. So because of that, I don't really like him as the 8th inning. And, first of all, we don't even have the talent level where you can just get past the 6th.
Right.
A la Yankees early this year or Kansas City the past 2 years, where you can just put it on cruise control as a manager and just say, this is my guy for this is my guy for this. If, tell Dombrowski you want that, and maybe he can make it happen for you for next season, but you don't have it. So I really think it's just going to be piecing it together in the 7th and 8th.
Right.
In just working matchups. But I really don't want to see Taz in the 8th anymore. He's got to,
he looks like he needs a month off.
Yeah.
He
needs some dead arm. I think he, throw him down with a shoulder impingement and get him some yummies on the DL.
Yummies.
15 days, because he just looks tired arm out there.
Yeah, it's not good. I can't remember a streak with him where it's looked this poor.
Yeah.
Ever. And then Koji's out with the pec.
I'm still holding out hope we're going to see Koji this year.
I hope so too.
And he's going to be in that 8th inning mix. That's why,
unlike Ortiz, though, he seems like he's
catching up
seen his age a little bit.
Yeah.
It's troubling, though. You almost feel like they need another piece. And kind of you talking about Dombrowski, I remember the early talks this season. It felt like we might have that set up, 7th, 8th, 9th.
Yeah.
With Koji and our boy Carson.
Yeah.
Before, and now it's just Injury City and...
Injury City.
Injury City.
Injury City. Boom, there's another one for the North. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of injury city, but all teams have injuries. I mean, you look at Detroit and how banged up they've been, and you know, not to jump to the other league, but the Dodgers, like flirting with, they're in first place, I believe, and they are, you know, the most injured team in baseball. So no excuses. I mean, somebody's got to step up. You know, I mean, maybe that person's down in Pawtucket. Maybe, you know, Anthony Varvaro, you know.
Joe Kelly.
Maybe, although that guy's been given any opportunity and not really seized it.
Yeah, it's true.
But, you know, I want to see more out of Bonds maybe in that eighth inning. I want to see more out of Hembry. But, you know, Zeegs is in that eighth inning mix, I guess, if you don't really have the luxury to hold him back to be Kimbrel insurance. But, you know, the thing with bullpens is a guy can be horrible for like 2 weeks and then turn it on and have a great 3 weeks.
Right.
So it's like, it's really a lot has to do with confidence. And as a manager, you have to err on the side of having overconfidence in a guy than the other way, you know, of not having any confidence. Because then you have no chance. The guy's going to be rubbish if you have no confidence in him. Because then he has no confidence in him. So,
yeah, I mean, it's hard to shine that on, though, when the results are what they are.
Shining on me.
A lot of songs. I like it.
I'm real musical.
You're a musical guy.
You know.
You're a musical guy.
That's it.
No segue here, but Ortiz, as we mentioned, you know, as he's done every week, where he's getting into a new historical grouping with his numbers.
Yes.
1,500 RBIs this week.
1,500 RBIs with the Red Sox, yes.
Joining the likes of Ted Williams and Carl Yastrzemski. And I don't know if anyone can join him in this company where he walks over from the batter's box, hands some candy to the kids, takes a selfie with the kids, goes to the plate, hits a jack. So
what game was that?
It was this series. I think it was yesterday. So it just had me thinking, who else? I mean, this guy is so larger than life now.
Yeah.
I know there's no segue to this, but it's just something to talk about. This guy, I mean, this guy's written his own rules. I mean, it's so the story on him now is just it's like cartoon size, you know, larger than life. This guy's playing by his own rules. It just had me thinking, like, imagine if Hanram stepped out of the batter's box, started talking to kids, taking photos, went up and, you know, took strike three.
Grounded into 643. We'd be all over him.
Yeah, no question.
I mean,
it's unbelievable, though.
I think Hanley does do a little bit of that. It's just the cameras not picking it up. Thank God. But, yeah, save the most of that Hanram for your swan song. But he's a guy that's been raking.
He's been playing good ball.
He has. And, like, I was a little worried, like, being away from the team on that bereavement leave was going to, like, slow down his hot bat. But he's come back and crushed it.
He has been one of the stories of this season, I think. Like, he's, you know, you're not getting insane power numbers from him at first, but, I mean, he's been consistent. He's been average to above average defensively, which is more than we expected after last season. And, you know, he's been a solid teammate, it seems like, you know.
Yeah.
Cool story, bro.
I'm just still getting over the fact you think we have smooth segues on this show, and you were offended that you didn't.
No, segues, but, you know, I had to bring that up because it was amazing.
Expect to see Ben come by the foreground. One of those really things.
Hey, guys.
Hey, what's up? Papelbon.
Pap.
I mean, and, you know, he was... he lit us up on the old YouTube comment section, too.
Yes.
Folks do that. He was obviously, you know, praising his boy Rick Porcello, as they has to do on a weekly, if not daily basis. Well, and, you know, we should be doing that weekly on this because now he improves to, 17-3 on the season?
17-3. And props to Ben if you happen to be listening, because I tuned into last week's show with Mike and Kev, and I heard old MCon turn the page. So now, is this you that said this? If you were to start a series right now, you would go with Pretty Ricky. Was that you that said that?
Well, I said if you were hosting Gabe Wood.
Yes, okay.
You know, or if you were hosting the wild card, I think you got to think about Rick Porcello because the guy's been lights out at Fenway.
He has been. I just remember Ben having that thought a few weeks back or a month back or whatever it was, and I still may be
in Price Camp.
Just kind of.
It's tough. You go back and forth because now it looks like Price is turning into Price.
Let's hope so.
So, I mean, it's kind of futile to kind of, you know, speculate at this point of the season. It's going to be like who's going good,
Right.
You know, at the end of at the beginning of October. You know, as far as to who's going to get that ball.
Right. Right.
But man, I'll tell you, it's good to see Price. You know, starting to pitch like Price, and you know the guy. He you know, he leads the AL in innings pitched. He leads the AL in strikeouts. So it's like he wasn't doing that horrendous.
Right. I mean, some of his starts were at the beginning of the season. He actually was pitching pretty well. You know, and we were kind of getting on him. He had a few starts where it was, you know, it seemed like maybe the frustrations were getting the better of him, and he was not himself at all. But overall, I mean, you know, if he wasn't the $31 million man, it wouldn't be as big of a deal, you know.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, thank heavens for Porcello. This guy has been just another huge story, and kind of quietly so.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of been under the radar. Like, I can't recall the last time a guy's had that. Obviously, that, you know, the win-loss record is what it is, but I can't recall the last Red Sox running out there with that kind of record and as kind of modestly doing it.
Yeah.
You don't hear a peep from the guy.
No. But he's got fire. You can see him in that little dust up he almost had with the Yankees. And then he was chirping at somebody in this last start because he was like, he just gets like fired up at the oddest things.
He
like
does.
nobody really knew what it was. Like even this week, I think the kid like popped one up and was pissed at himself that he didn't hit it. Like it was a pitch he should have handled.
It was
and
against Detroit, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember who that was, but I read the
It's
quote.
one of their young kids.
The quote afterwards, that kid said that Porcello was just pissed he couldn't join him for brunch the next day. Something amazing like that. I was like, yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, right.
Good
That's a
stuff.
reach.
Oh, we have another question from Twitter.
Ooh.
A new fan, Ben Fay.
Oh.
Benny frickin' Jam.
Yeah, that's him.
Thoughts on renaming Yawkey Way to Big Poppy Way?
Wow. Gene Yawkey fans won't be excited
Gene
about
Yawkey. Yeah, I don't know too many of those,
that.
but
Yeah. Maybe Van Ness.
Van Ness.
You know, one of the Ipswich.
Ipswich.
You know, one of the streets around there that isn't already named for a poor person in Red Sox lore.
That's going to be a tough sell, I think. Yeah.
Maybe Lansdowne we can change to
Ortiz.
Downtown Poppy. Big Poppy because he goes downtown on Lansdowne. Hello. Can you tell? Yeah, this is a live show. Because that's not ironed out.
Reach.
But he's all about renaming streets. Because of Vin Scully Way here in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. Well, we keep those tweets coming. Benny frickin' Jam and everybody.
Benny
and
frickin' Jam.
people should also send tweets to Ben Sherrington and say, sorry for lambasting you when you signed Rick Porcello to a 4-year, $82.5 million extension. Because he is definitely earning $20 million a year, this season.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable. I mean,
And he's
what
like
a difference.
He's like fastest to 100. He's got 100 career wins.
It's pretty nuts. Yeah, you
Before
don't
he
realize how
turned
young he
28,
is,
yeah.
right? Yeah, I mean,
Because he was like right up and like starting right away.
Yeah.
And like Detroit couldn't send him down because they needed him, you
Right.
know, and he was successful, like coming up as a 20-year-old. So it's interesting. I mean, I never think anybody's going to hit 300 wins again. But then you hear something like that, and it maybe gives you pause. You know?
it's possible. It's possible.
We'll see. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. JBJ is hot this week too. He had quite a 3 or 4 dingers this week,
No big deal.
and you know I'm so psyched because this guy is.
He gets
know,
a
when
little streaky.
He gets a little streaky, but it seems like his down times are shortening.
They are, yeah.
You know, I mean, before it was like this dude would go vanishing for 4 to 6 weeks,
Right.
You know, and now it's more like 4 to 6 days.
Yeah, I think maybe it's a confidence thing too, where he's now done it for such a sustained period that he's a major league hitter, man. The kid, obviously, we always knew the defense was there, and Maya's it there. I mean, every week he's making plays that are head turners that not too many players can make.
I mean, this outfield defense is just
It's pretty stellar.
wow. I mean, the pitchers must be giddy, when they go out there
Right.
with this. I mean, it's insane.
Unbelievable.
Just to kind of keep consistent with very rocky segues, let's talk about Toronto Blue Jays again. They're a half game up now. They won today, and they've been playing some winning baseball. They Oh, did they win today or did they lose today?
Did they win today?
Hello.
Let's see. I got it right in front of me.
Oh, I think they might
They
have
lost.
They
3-2
lost
to Cleveland.
They did. They lost. So
Thanks, Cleveland.
we just kept pace with the loss. That's why we were half game back coming into today, and we both lost. So, but they sent Aaron Sanchez, who has arguably been their best starter this year,
Send him down.
sent him down a single A
saw
ball
that,
today
yeah.
to put like a halt to his innings. Because he's already up to like 150 innings or something. That's already a career high. And they just, want him for the playoffs. But it's like, oh, okay, we'll see. Now hopefully we got some like quadruple A pitches taking his turn in the rotation. And
Quadreezy.
and they get lit up.
Yeah, it is an interesting tactic. I mean, I don't remember that as a kid watching ball being as much of a thing.
No.
It's just
No.
run him out there
It wasn't.
till the arm falls off.
I mean, and I guess maybe it's you gotta like, I agree with the fact that, workout regimens get better, workout equipment gets better, all these routines get better. So the athletes are getting better. They have bigger muscles that are being like, swung around by the same ligaments, So
Right.
it's like,
Yeah.
I can kind of understand it, but it really is an inexact science. And it was a situation like that. And the Dodgers are actually kind of in a similar situation with the young pitcher of theirs, where they're going to have to rely on him, but they really want to stop the clock on him and Julio Urias. But it's tough as a team because then you it'd be a situation like the Mets last year with Javi, and the guy's like, "Give me the ball, no innings limit, I want to go." So
Right.
they go to the World Series. That's all well and dandy. They don't win it,
Right.
and now the dude's could be rubbish.
Yeah.
So it's like. You gotta almost like go the Strasburg route where you say, "Hey,
Shutting it down.
We're shutting it down no matter what."
Yeah.
And you just have to kind of stick with your guns on that, even if it means you got to bring up a guy from Double A and have him get hit around a little bit. But
Yeah, I mean, I mean, we talk about it every week though with these young kids.
Every
You don't
week.
want to gamble the future,
yeah,
But it's a delicate balance, I'd say.
it is
Delicate
very
balance.
much so. And I've talked about this before that maybe this is the new thing we get on. Dave Dombrowski, once he gets through pillaging our farm system and hopefully leading us to a couple championships, we give him walking papers. Bring old Ben Cherington back
Cycle it back.
for like a 7-year cycle.
Cycle
Boom.
it back.
By then, Dombrowski's like 80.
Right.
Bring him back to pour through whatever.
It does seem to be the way. I mean, especially since 04, it's just a
Whoop.
cycle.
It is.
It is a cycle.
Not to say that Dombrowski can't rebuild. He did pretty good with that Tigers organization, even though they never hoisted the trophy. Hoist.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that seems like a decent segue into something I like to think about quite a bit,
Yes.
which is how this team shapes up for the postseason. I think about it pretty much on a weekly basis.
Oof.
And we kind of already touched upon it, but I feel like we've yet to see this team, and it's not that that's uncommon, but we've yet to see the team clicking on all cylinders. And if it's possible, I feel like they're definitely, if it actually came to be that everyone, the starters keep rolling and Price turns into Price, and then somehow this bullpen gets their act together. The offense is historically good. Then you certainly have a contender, but
Yeah. Well, the hope is that once you get over these injuries with Eduardo Rodriguez and Steve Wright, or as Ben would call him, David Wright, they want to. Hopefully you get in a situation where you have that consistency now, where 5 guys are going out there every 5 days, and 1 guy a day, and they are getting consistent efforts of 6 and 7 innings, because then the bullpen can kind of
right.
revamp itself,
Buckle down.
and
Yeah.
not be so overworked, and hopefully we can get some guys healthier out there arm wise. One thing I did want to touch on, it was kind of a big story of the week. Probably should have let off with hello.
Either way.
But Mookie Betts moving down to the 4 hole. At first, I didn't really like it because I'm like, you're gonna put this really speedy, fast guy behind David Ortiz in the lineup.
Right.
I don't understand that. What happens when Poppy's on first and this dude hits one to the gap? He's gonna have to. He can't get a triple because Poppy has to top at third.
Right.
So it's like that originally was my original pause, but then obviously you can't argue with results. I mean He's just been knocking it in. It was kind of a situation where you had Poppy, who wasn't going too well,
Right.
and Bogey, who wasn't going too well. So it's like it was almost out of necessity to drop them down to have a guy that's hitting be a run producer in the middle of that lineup. But the one thing that Farrell said, and this makes some sense, is it's like, well, by moving Ortiz up there, he gets up in the first inning, which is nice, and also it has them so they don't have more than 2 righties in a row in the lineup. He was getting worried where you have that Betts, Petey, Bogarts at the top of the lineup. You get a right-hander that comes out of the pen, maybe a sidewinder or somebody with a delivery, then he can kind of go through those 3 guys in succession. So I'm kind of liking it. I am coming around on it. And of course, like I say, you can't argue with results. I mean, Petey, since he's been in the one hole, even though he's hemming and hawing, I mean, the dude's hitting like over 400 since he's been in that position. So, and it's like you have it's like rest easy, Petey. It's like we have a sick bottom of the lineup, so there's going to be guys on base from you, once you go through. And so, you got those guys at the bottom of the lineup that are raking. Benintendi. You got Mr. Standy Leone, who just keeps going. He had a couple more hits
baseball.
Today. It's ridiculous. It's like 380.
No big deal.
It's like, how's this guy not going to have his average plummet today? It's like, big deal. I'll go 2 for 5.
Yeah,
I'll go up a little bit.
It's unbelievable.
And I'll tell you what, it's like I was giving like a lot of props to Chili Davis last year, but hearing more into it, I don't know if it was in telecast or something I was reading.
Probably telecast.
Hello, you took the words out of my mouth there. But someone's saying that a lot of it's a tribute to him going down to Venezuela ball last year.
Oh, really?
And his manager or his hitting instructor down there was a guy, Carlos Guillen. I don't know if you remember him, longtime Mariner.
Okay.
Kind of his career got shorted by injuries and stuff. Came up as a shortstop, kind of a shortstop, third baseman type. This guy, legitimate hitter. Like if he could have stayed healthy, potential 3,000 hitter. So, and he kind of tinkered with him. He did some stuff. So, if Christian Vasquez's bags aren't already packed for Venezuela for the offseason, let's get them packed.
Get them packed, kids.
But before we sign off here, let's just kind of look ahead to the upcoming week and who we got on the docket. We'll finish up this road trip with 4 at Tampa coming up here starting tomorrow. So Tampa's been playing a little bit better lately. They're not going to lay down. So it'd be nice to take 3 out of 4 from that. But if we split that and end up coming home with a 7-4 road trip, be very happy with that.
Not a bad day.
And then finish up the week with 3 games in the Fens versus Kansas City. We'll have the late game on Sunday night, so we will be on 1 hour later next week, gang. So just mark your calendars on that. If you do listen to us live, we'll be on at 9 p.m. Pacific next Sunday, midnight Eastern. Because they have the late game. So that is for Kansas City. And like I say, they're hot right now. Don't sleep on them. Everybody had written off them, but the defending champs are 3 games over 500 right now and really in the mix in that wild card race. You want to say anything before we get going?
I don't think so, Tim.
Okay, buddy. Well, gang, thanks for tuning in for another edition of Red Sox Wrap 360. We appreciate your viewership and listenership. And tune in next week, gang. For Dennis Harris, I am Mike Conley. Go Sox!
Whoop, whoop.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.